Good morning. You are watching the discussion, which is a part of the festival Konvergencie, and the discussion will be mostly focused on the yesterday's concert, which still seems to be a bit unbelievable that right here there are four musicians sitting from four different countries. Unbelievable thing in this era of pandemic. So we will also discuss how it could actually happen. So initially, I have to say sorry to the guys from the band, from the ChamberJam project, because there is a few words initially that director of the festival, Jozef, need to speak about.
Good morning. Also, I'm very happy that we are all here. It's such a nice feeling that after so many long months of desert for us regarding the performances, we can be together, and also that we could have yesterday fantastic audience. Also, the day before yesterday on Sunday, we had two beautiful concerts too. So it happened just because we all met. Basically, our first initial meeting was in festival in Kuhmo, in Finland, and then it started to develop the friendships and cooperations. And Marcelo is actually first time at the festival, and I'm very happy that it could happen right now. And of course, the reason is that we focus the whole this springtime festival to Astor Piazzolla, and not just because of the centenary of his birthday, but because of the very good relation he had with Marcelo, and because of his music, of course, which is amazing, and we love it. And so we dedicate these 6 concerts we have over 2 weeks to his music. And these guys, Marcelo, Daniel, and Alberto, and of course Zoran, who is not here, and Natasha, which is already back in France, uh, uh, agreed to come and join us, and also took this. There is many steps now we have to do to overcome to the concert hall. PCR test on one side, PCR test on the other side. We have to control our audience. We have to control if we are healthy. We have to be vaccinated. So there is many steps and barriers until we come to the point that we can play Piazzolla. So, but therefore, for some reason, yesterday was very special moment. And I think you all agree that on both sides, on the stage and in the audience, and even from the side of the us as festival and organization, it was amazing. And I'm happy that we can talk a little bit, like a little after party.
So what actually happened yesterday? It was how many concerts you all play during this, let's say, 1 year backwards?
This last year? You mean us together or in general?
Yeah, in general.
Well, I should say that before winter, it was, in my case, I think a bit in Europe, there were more concerts than in. Actually, a big part of the program we played yesterday, we just recorded a bit more than a month ago in Amsterdam. So we met for a week altogether in Amsterdam.
Yeah, and actually 1 month ago, or it was maybe 6 weeks ago, it was still even more difficult than now. And yeah, of course, at the time of pandemic, with not so many concerts going on, or no regular concerts going on at all, this was the first one for like a real substantial audience that any of us have played in, well, since last summer, I think, basically. But it's a good moment, of course, to make recordings. So we had this idea, but then there was quite a journey from this idea. We want to record this Ecstasis program, finally to make a disc with our quintet. A big journey from that decision to actually making it physically happen, to get 5 people from 5 different countries to Holland was an immensely complicated logistical exercise. And at many moments I thought it would not happen, but really, my goodness. But it happened. We were there, and it's also a good feeling that against the odds, we could make that happen. Like you now against the odds.
It's amazing.
It's still
And
very difficult.
I
now.
think we all should thanks to our team and especially
Yes.
Lea, because she was
Wow,
following
bravo.
every rule and every single barrier we should cross and took care of you guys coming in.
Yeah, we always had this feeling. I think, of course, you must respect all the rules completely. But if a door is even open just that much, you have to jump through it, like Piazzolla's shark. You have to, somehow go. Yeah. Anyway.
Musicians, sometimes when you're speaking with musicians, many of them mention site-specific moments. So by now we should speak even more about the time-specific moment. So how about you, Alberto? Do you feel something special in the air last night when you play here in Bratislava?
Yeah, definitely. So for me also, many months passed since I had the chance to play in front of a real public. I did some streaming concerts, so the energy is completely different. A lot of excitement. The acoustic of the hall was fantastic. It helped us a lot. And the energy of the public also is something that you don't have when you play in streaming. It's somehow sterile, even though it can be a nice exercise, to play a streaming concert. But that live energy that you feel with an audience is something completely special that gave us a lot. So I felt really rewarded at the end. Really, really a lot of energy back from the people. So I'm really glad.
So the interaction is definitely the element when you compare like the streaming concerts and when you see the live reactions from the people. But how it was with you on the stage? So it was from the very first moment till the end of the almost 2 hours evening, Marcelo?
Wow, we did play 2 hours. I can't believe it.
Almost,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Well, you can see, I mean, it went so fast, which means it was very nice and intense. And
I can confirm that we agreed on kind of 65, 70 minutes program.
Okay.
Actually, it was 1 hour 45, but it was like, pew,
wow.
like this.
Wow, okay.
Fine.
Wow. And yes, and I think probably we are all used to play with public, but it's not. I mean, of course, I think we can be very happy playing for ourselves and listening to ourselves. But I think to know that people is listening there and interacting with the emotions and the sounds, everything change your way of behaving and playing. I was missing that. I am used to play with public. I think there is a paradox with this stream situation, which I understand is a way of kind of, let's say, compromise solution to keep playing. But it became something like preparing a TV program or video program, and for that, at the end, you need so much specialized people to make it good with sound and cameras. That is another type of event. Yeah. That not normally before all this, to make such a video project, you will record many days until you have it good with sound and videos, and now you have to be very quick without public and video, no? So it's a very different experience.
As for the duration of the concert, it seems to be the only chance there has to be that the ecstasis, it has to be double CD, right?
Well, that's a very good question. How we will put that in one CD, yes. Yes.
But now the CD, of course, can be like 80 minutes. I think it will be the program of yesterday minus one or two pieces,
a little bit talking
and a bit of
well.
talking, and and of course the immense applause that lasted so long. No, but I was thinking about what Marcelo was saying. That as we came off stage, in fact, Marcelo said, "My God, I've missed this performing for a live audience," and I think for many artists it's not just been missing it a little bit, but like almost existentially missing it. Like life is incomplete. I mean, it depends on everyone, but I think some people were really suffering, because it's and all these streamings are great, recordings great, but like Marcelo said, it's a more clinical kind of exercise, like preparing but going into a whole in the moment, having to do it right there, and feeling this kind of energy from audience is something. It's of course what we live for somehow. So it was a very special moment. Yes.
Very special moment. And we spoke with Daniel immediately yesterday after the concert. That it reminds us moment when Brodsky came here with Daniel for Shostakovich. Of course, in a different color. This was Piazzolla, but somehow the feeling was very similar and intense and beautiful. We can't. I realized. Sorry.
No.
We can't. I realized yesterday with Piazzolla music that we can't truly live without beauty of this music, and if the beauty is shared between musicians and audience, that's a kind of makes us really alive. Amazing.
Yeah.
And Marcelo, when we did an interview before you came here in Slovakia for the first time, so we discussed the point of, because in terms of the name of the band, ChamberJam, I was asking you if what's the balance in between composition and improvisation. So how it went yesterday?
Yes, I think we are, even if I think we try, of course, sometimes to get some things agree in between each of us and try to make it the way we think we like to make it for good, I think, and there is always some fire there, some spontaneity that maybe change, and we like that, or I don't know if we like, but we go with it, we live with it. So we understand that life is not a fixed thing, and music is not always fixed. There is an idea, and maybe on stage it might change a bit, but we go all together with that. So that I think that probably makes the result a very fresh and lively result. But you have to be very, very quick, very fast, very awake.
Very fast. It was when I listened to Zoran's playing, it was kind of, I initial thinking he's playing the cello because there were so many notes and very speedy in tempo. So each of you.
Very high.
Yeah.
He's such a big guy, so instrument looks quite small.
Yeah, like
great.
piccolo violin.
Exactly.
Speaking about the instruments, we have a very nice bandoneon right here, 80 years old at least, from German.
Is it so old? Really?
Yeah. Older than
us.
ourselves. Yes, than us.
Older than us.
A German manufactured, so it means it's solid and doesn't need so much maintenance. But maybe we should maybe explain, and even the musically,
Yes.
What the difference is in between the bandoneon and accordion or similar instruments which are using the keys instead of the buttons.
Yeah, I can try. It's a very weird instrument because it's not very clear why it was invented. So most of the people, they said that it was to replace the organ in little church. But I don't think that was the case because in general, even the most little church in Germany, they had a small organ or harmonium at least. So why they would bring another instrument like this? The thing is that probably at the very beginning, they use it just for tuning organs as a reference. Because, yes, because the tuner needs some reference of sound just to start tuning the organ. So what would be, like the singers, they need the A to sing one note in non-tonal music maybe, and so they needed to have some sound reference, and probably that's the origin of the quality of the sound of the instrument that you have, that sounds a bit like an orgel, like you have like for the melody a very bright kind of sound. And in this side, it's darker. I normally don't play this way, but it's because of the microphone.
Well, it's exactly, it sounds when I hear it like this, close, and when you play like that, it reminds me our harmonium, with the pedal-like.
Yes.
The sound is very similar to that.
Yes. It's, the mechanic and the technique is more related with the concertina. and that you have in Holland and in Germany from 19th century. It's a very weird instrument, and then it happens that some immigrant brought it to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, and then they start using it for tango. So that's a bit how.
And do we know who actually invented the instrument? Do we know the name of the person?
Yes, apparently the very first one, if I am not wrong, it was called Zimmerman, and then there was a band who was producing the instrument. That's why the name of the instrument, bandoneon. Band. And then the mark of the instrument is a double A, which is Alfred Arnold, who finally invented this kind of instrument. So it's a very complex. The fabric in Germany got after the war, it got a bit destroyed, and they changed it for another purposes. So they stopped producing it after the Second War.
And so now they are making it also in Argentina?
Yeah, they're making very good ones in Argentina and as well again in Germany. Yes.
And it's a matter of 20th century or 19th?
It started
when it was
they
invented?
started to make it at the end of the 19th century. Okay. And then it got this kind of instrument 1910, 1915, more or less, this kind of chaotic kind of a keyboard instrument.
So you never played accordion?
No, never.
It's forbidden in Argentina?
It is a bit taboo, you know.
Is it?
I will tell you a joke that Piazzolla used to say, that when you died, if you go to heaven, you get a bandoneon. You go to hell.
So it was one of the lessons he gave to you, right?
Yes, it's a bit always. It is black humor, you know, of course.
like violin and viola, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
But the sound is very nice, and even the way you shape it, it's a bit more it enables you to play more in team or some big air, because it seems to be you can make this.
Yes. Well, of course we are playing with all these fantastic artists together. They go for it, and of course you use much more bigger sound, so you need to use more air. You play stronger, you know.
Hey, I like the way you're playing, because Daniel is standing when he's playing the violin, which is not even very typical for the violinist. Not many violinists are standing during the concert, classical music concerts.
Solo violinists.
Solo
violinists, of course, are always stand.
Yeah,
it depends. For tango, it feels right for violinists to stand.
Daniel is not just standing; he's also dancing.
Yeah. We had a very nice picture from the Shostakovich, like this levitating in the air.
Oh
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
But
It's actually beautiful.
No, but it depends also in a physical way. Maybe it's not necessary to speak about why is the left hand or right hand when you're standing and using the bandoneon. But in terms of physical, it seems to be because I was very surprised that the only one who is apart from the Natasha who is sitting is Alberto, which is guitar player. So what was the problem?
But you couldn't. How would you stand? It's.
The electric guitar can have this type of stripe.
The belt, yeah.
Rock band, yeah.
But actually, so I come from a classical tradition, and in any case, also in Piazzolla's original quintet, the guitarist was sitting. I think he was using even a bigger jazz guitar. I think he was using this arch top, which is thicker, and I use a beautiful Gibson Les Paul from the 60s for this project, which is also heavy. So I think it's the best thing is just to sit and
I think
focus on playing.
Alberto understood his position in the band, because he has so many animals around himself that he has to take a little bit of intelligence side and give it a little bit ratio.
But But Alberto, of course, in our group, he's playing the e-guitar. But of course, for the other 97.5% of his life, he is one of the greatest classical guitarists around.
We had him at festival 2 years ago with Romina Basso.
Ah,
Yes, and with
we
Daniel.
played
of
in
course,
the
at the
castle.
At the castle.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems to be maybe there is also big band model. During a solo, you will just play a few notes and in order to be a soloist. But each one of you seems to could play as many solos as he will feel like during a concert. So what interested me is when you're dealing with, for instance, not with your own compositions, but with the Piazzolla's music. So there is a big tradition of recordings, even from himself. There are original recordings, but there are many people who playing Astor Piazzolla's music. So what's your attitude? How would you describe in the word for someone when it's asking you how do you play the Piazzolla's music?
Well, I think in my case it was changing through the time. At the beginning, of course, I was totally into it, and I played many years, the quintet music especially, but as well with orchestra. And after he did it and he recorded, that's the thing. Then you can do it. In my case, the best I can. I have a look like I like to do it in the style. I don't feel. If there is another way to do it. Of course, it's possible to do it a different way, to play it in a different way, but I prefer to do it in the style he did it, because that's how it sounds, his music, and you can listen to the recordings. So in a way, it's a very traditional way I play it.
Would you be so kind and demonstrate us, for instance, I don't know, Oblivion, the way the Astor played?
Yes, I can do something very simple. I'm sure you will understand.
Two different attitudes. So let's start with the traditional one.
Yes, if you take the score of Oblivion, it probably is going to be written this way. That would be written in the score. So if you play it that way, it's going to sound cold and straight. And you need to, of course I do it quickly now, but you need to a bit ornamentate it or play with the rubato, so you have to move in this line. Expressive thing.
It was short. The only problem was it was short. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But
Marcelo, it's almost like in a baroque.
Yes, exactly.
That's basically ornamentation.
Yes.
They all knew how to do.
Yes.
And you just go.
Exactly.
Like Piazzolla created the 20th century baroque.
Yes, totally. That's I wanted exactly to say that. You say it. It's the same. So
it's amazing, actually.
So you play a lot of classical and baroque music, and I think in that sense it's very close to the tango. Maybe the only little difference, but it doesn't mean that tango is something special or different than the other music. It's just like a kind of dialect. So you go into it. So there are kind of ornamentation that are more typical for this, like chromatic ornamentations, and that is like a dialect.
It basically went the same way as Bach took dances, baroque dances, baroque suite, and created it from the dance point to the concert stage. The same way Shostakovich with Vals, Chopin with Polonaise, and Piazzolla with tango.
Yes, I think Chopin probably was obsessive with very specific ornamentations with the piano pieces, for example, no? Like all these very fastly passage he wrote it. And I think Piazzolla was the best comparison would be with Monteverdi,
Okay.
who wrote, yes, like who wrote the melodies, who wrote, but then the musicians, they have to add all the ornamentations and they have to make it sound.
Okay, and do you think
More
Piazzolla
expressive.
would give this kind of freedom
Yes.
that how you
Yes.
kind of hear it and feel it yourself
Yes.
from the score,
Yes.
or he had specific idea?
Well, they will give the freedom, but if there was a musician playing some kind of ornamentation that came from jazz or
Yeah.
more classical, he would
didn't
say,
like
"No,
it."
don't play. This is not jazz. This is tango."
It's not jazz.
And he was very specific with that.
But in terms of patterns, like to avoid the typical jazzy style or something like that?
It's in terms of I would say not the patterns, because sometimes the patterns they mix in jazz and tango sometimes are a bit the same, but it's mostly the expressivity, how you would play it. You
It
know?
kind of breaks the mood of the piece, basically, or
Yeah,
the spirit
like-
of the piece.
Like, for example, if you make an ornamentation, if you do like, it's more like imagine a trumpet or jazz, but he will go this kind of minimal difference that are about subtle things of language. No?
I realized that when you played yesterday at the concert, that you had very. That's what I really loved yesterday at the concert. Except all the guys who played with you, and as a band, you really matched together, fantastic. But when you play, it's very. Even when you keep the note, you work with it still. It's
yeah.
not flat.
Yeah.
Even when you play one note without ornamentation, the note is still somehow oscillating, somehow working. It's kind of, it has its own pulse
Yes.
with the breath of the instrument. So that's really amazing that every detail is really important there.
Yeah, it has to be lively every time. Especially in tango, they blame you. If you I remember the old guys I play with in orchestra. If you will play a solo or some melody in a very cold way, they will call you directly. You play like a fridge.
Really? Really?
They would say that you are like a fridge. You are like an iceberg. When I listen to you, I don't feel anything. Really, that hard. Or criticizing some recordings, or that recording, I feel like I am in Antarctica.
So I would be interested if you don't mind asking that how would you describe the basic reason why they didn't like from the beginning Piazzolla's tango, kind of nuevo, in Argentina? What they felt offended by these new compositions?
I think I should say with all respect, that the Argentinians, in general, we might feel offended by anything. And
A little bit like Slovaks.
okay, no, because sometimes I remember a few years ago the Pope was named the Argentinian Pope, and I remember in Buenos Aires some people, they were so angry about it. Yeah, now they accept it after many years, but at the beginning they were like, why? And sometimes telling whatever thing he did in the past, who cares? And with Piazzolla, he changed something that was very established, and somehow it was working fine for most of the people, and they didn't like that to be changed, basically.
Yeah, but dealing with traditional music in every country is probably sometimes still you have orthodox camp and taboos, and this is not. What are you crazy? What are you doing with the material? It doesn't need anything. But I'd like to ask, how would you describe the importance of the classical music education? How did it afflict even your own attitude to tango music? When you had a classical education, you said you were pupil of the teachers that used to be pupils of the Messiaen, Ligeti, and this kind of European tradition of classical music. So what's the benefit of the musical education, speaking about the relationship to tango in traditional way?
Well, I'm sure Daniel and Alberto, they can say a lot about it, because I put it the opposite way. I learn from them. So it's not that I came from Buenos Aires and I know how to play tango and I will tell them how they have to do it. I think it's the opposite way. They have a very an older culture than tango. So then the way they understand the things, the music, the scores, is the way I see, okay, this is our connection, this is our language, and we have to go there just to communicate whatever we are playing. So mostly I learn from them, and then I try to codify the tango things I imagine in their own language, not in my language.
Okay. So what would you say, Daniel and Alberto? So how about you and tango? Was the love from the very first sight?
Well, yeah, the first time. Well, actually, no, because when I was like a teenager or something like that, or more to the point, before I met Marcelo, I had this wrong idea that tango is a little bit, it's cool, maybe also sexy and a bit jazzy, but sometimes it's also played like that, you know. And then when I remember exactly when it was in Oxford in 2008, I think, and Marcelo was playing probably his own piece, which is called "Kill Yourself Step by Step, Slowly" or something like that. And this is a very and
like
but also,
instruction, musical instruction.
It was exactly like and a manual, but also Oblivion and things. Well, long story short, my father had just died shortly before that, and somehow, but I wasn't thinking about that. I heard Marcelo play. I went back to the hotel room just to pick something up, and before I knew it, I felt tears running down my cheeks. I was completely, like, hopelessly gone. Then I realized, my God, this music has really touched something that normally I would expect, you know, Bach or Schubert or Mahler to touch. So nothing to do with entertainment. And this was a complete eye-opener and, you know, soul opener. And then I thought, I want to, you know more about this. And the beautiful thing is that then in the same kind of time, actually, all these friendships started. I met Natasha, Kuchmo Festival and some other festivals, and also my own, and Alberto, and Zoran. Yeah, and it's been really an education and an inspiration to play together these years. And what I love is that, above all, is that Marcelo is so rooted in this real tradition of tango and of Piazzolla, and not trying to make it all like, I think, even more, not like this, you know, rooted. If it's good, let's keep it, stay there. But then plus that, he has this incredible own language and his own compositions, which we didn't speak about so much yet now. They are something else. Taking the tango basis, but going to, you know, introducing avant-gardistic classical elements and that incredible stuff. And this combination of this pure Piazzolla basis and then this endless, adventurous, experimental way of going as well.
That's exactly what I felt.
Very fascinating.
That's exactly what I felt yesterday night and in this morning. But what you said, this combination of this kind of going, pushing the borders, and still keeping the beauty which is there, which is really
I love it.
touches you.
I love it. And in our quintet,
and the contrast is amazing.
And the quintet also, I think it's an interesting combination. Of course, we are all for classical soloists with all different energies. Zoran from Montenegro and Venetian Alberto, and Ukrainian, French, Natasha, all what are nationalities, but very, very strong individual personalities. And Marcelo there in the center, I think it does bring a unique kind of view of tango music, language maybe.
Yeah. And how about you, Alberto? So because for me, as far as I know, the Venetia is not the epicenter of the tango music.
No.
So what's your attitude? So how did tango get into your life?
Yeah, also for me, well, love and interest and curiosity for also different types of music brought me also to love tango before starting to play it. I had this beautiful recording of Kronos Quartet and Piazzolla playing the Five Tango Sensations, which is very beautiful. You played it a few days ago wonderfully. And then through, actually, first Daniel, who introduced me to this group to play with Marcelo, then Kuchmo came, I entered into this group slowly, and I learned a lot. I'm still learning a lot. Especially, I think what is a big distinction between a sort of European tradition way of playing and the Marcelo's playing is the sense of rhythm. I think he has got a very stable, somehow also connected to jazz, a bit behind the beat, a very stable sense of rhythm. And I notice also with European people who are not conducted by a strong personality as Marcelo, who tend to play this type of music, they tend to rush, you know, and to use fast elements in this music as elements of virtuosity, which I don't feel it's the case in this sense. It's all around that very stable, strong rhythm, and this I'm still learning. And also hearing each time Marcelo's improvisations before starting our pieces is also a lesson also to see how in these months he develops in terms of compositional ideas. It's wonderful, and I like that this music is strongly polyphonical. So each part has got somehow a similar importance, and each instrumentalist, like Daniel, brings an idea that maybe is taken by the piano, developed, and double bass, we are close with Zoran, Marcelo leads, and also I think he listens a lot from us, and so it's all a sort of circular connection, which is very special, I think.
Actually, we have also some questions from the audience, but before I read that question, it's on you, that you mentioned that it's polyphonic music, and of course Piazzolla loved Bach, no? I think I know it from the either movie or of the book Memoir, which we had a reading of the beginning at the festival. And there is written that he was amazed by Bach, he was, amazed by Stravinsky, which he studied, and he was amazed also by Bartók. And our seasons of spring festival, actually it's usually winter, went from Shostakovich to Stravinsky, to Bartók, to Beethoven and Bach last year. And now everybody was surprised when I said Piazzolla, we are going to do Piazzolla. Why Piazzolla? And now I didn't even know why I want to do it, but I just felt intuitively this is the right connection. And actually I'm so happy that actually it turned out, and it opened to me that Piazzolla kind of was following all these composers, and actually it's the right place for him in this series completely. So we have, look, Marcelo, can you see that question? This Marcelo, I noticed during the concert that you also played the melody with your right hand and the rhythm with your left, both at the same moment. Is this something that is often played on the bandoneon?
Yes, there is a tendency to do that way. Fortunately, I can still do it with both hands. but it is.
Can you show us?
I can hold it.
Yes. But
With the best.
Yesterday we played a piece, it's called Introducción al Ángel. And that's, for example, the melody, because it's a darker melody. It goes with the left.
Yeah.
So, because if I would play it here, in this, there is one octave that is the same here, and in this side, it would sound like playing in a totally different instrument. Right,
really
right.
Amazing.
And you can make like a third one combining both.
Whoa.
That's amazing, no?
I never quite knew that.
Or if you change octave. It's more like an organ, no?
Yeah.
But I mean, the instrument function and most of the music, of course, normally the melodies are written in a middle higher register, and the accompanimiento should not be higher than the melody, otherwise everything you lose the line of the melody. So that's why most of the trying to answer the question, normally the melody is in this side, and like I did before, or with in order that one understands the melody and the accompanamiento. It works. The opposite way would be possible, but it will change totally the perception of what is the main function. No?
Dear viewers, maybe you spot that we are doing the musical workshop right here, which is really amazing to just to sitting next to you and listen in physical way the color and intense of the sound of the instrument. So maybe also we should speak about this part, because the tango seems to be a very perfect medium to expose and express the different emotions, scale, the mixture of emotions, the different colors of your instruments, which is also kind of unique mixture. So it seems that you have endless possibilities. What could you do with the tango music? So that was the point when you start up because I don't like I already use it, so I'm sorry for that. I said that ChamberJam project, but it seems to be more than band than that project. As you are playing for how long together? More than 10 years already? So it's also, so maybe you should also, all of you, tell us what's the advantage of working in this close circle, like the people that know each other, they maybe know what to expect from each other during a live performance.
No.
No?
No.
In a good way. I mean, in a good way.
That's the whole point. Like he was saying, that it's often very unexpected, and every time a different story. But that was the whole point, I think. But based on, of course, there is knowledge. There are certain things like in this Baroque music. But then everyone flies in different directions, and like you were talking about this kind of circular thing. I think why we love playing together is that it's we can expect the unexpected, something like that. Yeah. Actually.
So it's always new, in some way.
I mean, if Marcelo would play some improvisation remotely similar twice, I would be very disappointed.
That would be the end of the project, right? When you start to repeat yourselves. Okay.
The chance is
played in
not
Basel,
so great.
this part.
No, but I have to say, that is what when you said that a little bit earlier in our conversation, that is kind of my whole, like, I don't know, raison d'être, or like my credo of being alive as an artist is exactly that. You prepare, you try to gather the knowledge, and then you leave that, and then you fly. And one way you fly one day there, one day there. And if it wouldn't be that, I wouldn't survive more than a few years. I would get completely stuck. So I mean, and I think we're these kind of artists. We need that just as oxygen. And I think that's why. I think I speak for all of us. Every time we come together as five, it's a great dose of exactly that kind of oxygen. Yeah.
And how about that didn't mention yet the Astor's Piazzolla attitude towards the teaching the music, because he seems to be anything but the orthodox or classical music teacher. So would you share some memories or experiences?
Yes. I was lucky I didn't suffer him as a teacher. But just to give you an example, he had two kids, a long time ago, and one of them, I will not name it because of what I'm going to say. It's a bit delicate, but he was pretending to start swimming. He wanted him to teach how to swim. And he said, yes, of course I will teach you. And then they went to the border of the port, where all the ships were and the water, and without any advising and nothing, he just dropped him into the water.
Okay.
And that's the way he learned how to swim.
Uh-huh.
hopefully.
Very nice metaphor, yeah.
Yes.
I know what you mean.
That's quite.
Yes. So yes, he was not meant to be like a pedagogic kind of teacher, but just by listening or listening him talking about music, one could catch a lot of things and try to understand why he was understanding something in this or in another way. It was always very, very, very fascinating and interesting to listen to him talking about composers or players. No?
So you mean we should imagine the lesson like it was you were speaking and listening to music, and when there was a need to demonstrate something, then you start to play the music. So the most of the time you spend with the talking and listening the others' music, right?
Yeah, well, he was very Italian in that sense. So he when he was a young bandoneon player, he started working and playing by just in a very intuitive way, listening the orchestras and the styles, and then he learned the music by ear, and then he started playing it. So that's how he started to play with Aníbal Troilo's orchestra. He knew how it sounded already. He was listening each day, every day, this orchestra. So once there was one bandoneon player who couldn't make it to the concert, he jumped in, and then he stayed for many years. So that was the way he was understanding and learning music, which is, I think, very, very intuitive and by ear. So in my case with him, when he was having rehearsals at my parents' place, he said, well, Marcelito, now you came with me and you just stand beside me and you see what the score, what is written, and how I played. And he was very, very, very clear about this. For me, that was my school because I could see the score that had nothing to do with what he was playing. Yes, yeah, wow. Yeah, yeah. So it happens to me some occasions in my musical life that I got in some situations with some eventually some conductor or who was pretending to be perfect. We should play what is perfectly written. You cannot imagine the headache I got because I know it's totally the opposite. That's how it is, misunderstanding.
Maybe we could be speaking a lot about the differences in between tango nuevo and música porteña, but this seems to be a bit insider topics for us. So maybe we should end up the discussion with mentioning your projects, your plans for the future. So by now there is a new recording.
Yeah.
After yesterday, it seems to be there will be a live bonus. Jozef, right?
Nice.
What? Sorry,
There will be the live bonus to the recording,
Yes, yes.
to the studio recording.
We had made the yesterday concert very special for the people we were there, and just that we are kind of a little bit tired of online concerts. Good, they are really good, but we wanted to enjoy the moment really, and I think it was very special. But we recorded it with a professional team, and we will have very beautiful memory of this, and we will hopefully post it either social media or even we are thinking about offering it to TV. So we will see what's possible.
And as you mentioned, indeed, the recording that we made 6 weeks ago in Amsterdam, also called Ecstasis. This record will appear on the label Challenge Records in November. So yeah, that's to look forward to.
So there will be several concerts at least to introduce the new material.
Well, yes, and in fact, if anyone, we're actually playing with this quintet plus cellist Maja Bogdanovic in Kolarac, so the main hall in Belgrade, Serbia, in about 2 weeks or even
1 week.
Is it? Well, it's already in 1 week. So,
That's what Zoran told me actually.
Yeah. In a good week. Yeah. Is it on Tuesday?
On the 9th.
Yeah, on the 9th. On the 9th. In Belgrade, in the wonderful Kolarac. So that's the first upcoming concert. And if you ask about future, I think it looks like concerts are starting again. So the summer might suddenly feel a bit more like a normal life. A bit more complicated with travel, but stuff really starting to move again, thank God. At least I think that's for all of us. No?
Yeah, definitely.
So it seems to be that tango is not over and not closed chapter for each one of you, for each one of us, because there are so many different attitudes to tango, as the festival Konvergencie is the good example of it, because the Slovak tango is totally different.
Very different.
Very different. It was based a different way with the traditional music and classical music. But there will be how many concerts
We will have still 3 more concerts until end of the festival. We'll have on Friday, we have a concert which is called Horacero, Buenos Aires Horacero, which is based on this composition of Astor Piazzolla, and it will be basically sextet, that we have 2 bandoneons playing, and it will be in a small theater, so it will have very intimate and kind of midnight mood. And then we'll have Alea, which is Boris Lenko and his friends, Stano Paluch and Dano Buranovsky and Jano Krigovsky on double bass, and the guests. And the guests, and actually, you know, Jano Krigovsky, yes, so he says hi.
To him.
And then at the end, we have a little kind of musical kind of comeback to our roots, Slovak tango, which is Bratislava Hot Serenaders, which is kind of a little orchestra with original arrangement of Slovak tango from 30s and 40s.
What is Slovak? Sorry.
Slovak tango.
What is Slovak tango? Is there a tradition like that?
It is. It is. It's kind of tradition because
I didn't know that.
And the singer will be also Milan Lasica, who is our legendary actor, and
80 years old.
80 years old, and he feels it very beautifully, and it's kind of very. How would you describe it, Oliver? It's kind of a melancholy, pathetic, kind of schmeh kind of feeling. It's very different from Argentinian tango and Piazzolla tango, of course. It doesn't have so much, I would say, drama in it. It's more...
Slovakian? No, it's easygoing. More.
It's easygoing.
It's easygoing. This
tango.
is right,
Yes,
definitely.
it's kind of very...
It's kind of witty and more fun, like... it seems to be more acting in it.
Yes.
The way the singer is.
But in some way, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's kind of beautiful.
It's original, I would say. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So you have to come for the concert. So each one of you watching the stream is invited for the rest of the concerts for the festival. And as all the good concerts has anchors, maybe we should end the discussion even with some more music.
We would love to
anchors.
with
So
some
if you
music,
don't mind, if you don't mind, Marcelo.
Thank you all, guys. First of all,
you.
Marcelo, Nisinman, Daniel, Rowland, and we have some more. We have one more question from the audience. I'd like to ask, as classical musicians, what did you have to relearn, change in your technique when you starting playing tango nuevo? So it's maybe a question on you too, guys.
Well, a short answer, yeah, there are certain tango effects. I mean, I could demonstrate on the violin, like a kind of like a jet whistle and playing, but like behind the bridge, this kind of scratchy sound, and also the tambour, where you make like pizzicato, like plucking the string, but in a way that is rather percussive. Yeah, so and the lija behind the bridge, and this, what's the name again of this high whistle?
Látigo.
Yeah, látigo. Exactly. These are exactly. The tambour, the pizzicato, the lija behind the bridge scratching, and these are the most obvious effects that one really only has in tango on the violin, which I had to also in the beginning ask Marcelo, what does this mean? Which is interesting. And for you, it was probably the first time you played e-guitar, no, in the tango, or?
Yeah, actually, yes. But yes, I had also to learn some rhythmical things, and of course, the electric guitar has got special strings, so steel strings. It's a different feel. Also to work with the volume and the different aspects which are not present in the classical guitar. But I have to say also that the way he writes for the electric guitar is quite similar to the classical. It's also polyphonic. I mean, I don't know. there was a famous classical guitar player who was playing with Piazzolla, Cacio Tirao, no? But also in his quintet, there was a jazz player. But I think, I mean, he also had to play somehow with fingers sometimes, because it's impossible to play with the plectrum many things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to really play.
Exactly.
So,
So we'd
thank
like
you.
to thank you guys for the concert.
Thank you, Alberto, Mesirca, Daniel, Rowland,
Roland,
Marcelo,
Marcelo.
Nisinman. Thank you, Oliver.
Pleasure.
And if you don't mind, and
No.
to share some musical site-specific thing here in Bratislava during the launch time. So thank you that you're watching and looking for the concerts. And the very end of discussion, Marcelo Nisinman will play some what?
I might complete the Oblivion, maybe, no?
It's up to you. What do you feel like? So
I
it's
think
just
I can try to complete it.
okay. So we will be the audience.
Okay.
It's all yours.
Pleasure, honor.